Welcome to Montreal Rocks. And today we have on the show Queens and Kings. We have the Queen, Alissa Klug, and the King, Brandon Albert.
We we
Hey,
we we trade places. We both take turns.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
what crown do you want to wear today?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that we like about you is that you are multi instrumentalist. That was a hard word to say. And that during your live show, you will actually kind of trade places sometimes. And
That's
I want to get into that. I want to get into some other things about how you do your live shows. But I just want to explain a little bit about who you are very quickly. Uh, Picture the White Stripes meets July Talk, and that's you'll get a good idea. It won't give you the exact idea, but it's a general idea of the kind of sound you can expect. And you're obviously known for your live shows. They've been called explosive, whatever, all kinds of terms that would show a lot of energy. And we've seen little clips on Facebook that it looks amazing. I can't wait till you guys tour again.
I can't wait.
Yeah, same. We feel the
I
same.
like to start at the beginning. I like to get to know who Alissa and Brendan are as children. I want you to picture yourself as children. You're maybe flipping through your parents' record collection. Sometimes it's a song or a band or a specific album that kind of triggers something in you. Maybe it's you finding your own voice in terms of the music that speaks to you. Was there a moment in your life where music really took on a new meaning for you and you just said like, I'm going to do this for a living?
I think for me, like I got into music very young, and just like you said, I used to go through my parents' record collection. I think the first concert they brought me to was like BB King, and
That's
you
a
know, like
cool start.
I started appreciating music at a very young age, and I think I was kind of obsessed with it very early on. And I think I wrote my first song when I was watching like one of those kids shows, and just wrote my first kids song when I was like, I don't know, 10, maybe younger. I think that for me, what really spurred me into becoming a musician was I was I was auditioning for a play. I think it was like school, or I don't remember exactly, but I remember singing a song. Someone was playing the piano, and I think the song I was told to sing was the song I was supposed to sing was "There's No Business Like Show Business," but it was like a really kind of like mellow version. Like imagine Lana Del Rey singing that song. Like it was like mellowed out
I can
version of that
imagine that.
song. And I don't think that I really knew that I had any like tendencies towards music before that. But like when I started to sing, people like stopped talking, and I was like, oh, that's all right. And I think from that time on, I just really got into it. And yeah, I just think it was always an obsession for me. And I think it's kind of in the family. Like my nephew, like when he was like 3 years old for his birthday, he wanted a tuba, which would have been bigger than him. But,
That's an interesting first request.
yeah, like I think there's something in the genes. How about you, Brendan?
For me, I was kind of family too. My mom was opera singer and a really amazing piano player. And so, I mean, I was in the womb hearing her singing opera. Like, I mean, it kind of started there. But then, when I was really young, I started to take my older sister's record collection. And it was like everything from Jefferson Airplane to Led Zeppelin to the Beatles to the Stones to Deep Purple and stuff like that. And they weren't into super heavy. That was about as heavy as they got. And then I just started.
Light purple, right?
Yeah, light purple, not deep purple. Like a shade, slight shade. But I was really lucky that when I was really young, we had this basement that was big, and I was like, Mom, I want to get a drum kit. And I think I had started listening more to like Led Zeppelin and stuff, and I was like probably 12 or 11 or something.
Yeah.
And so we ended up getting, this is the funny thing. She's like, I can't afford a whole drum kit. I can get you like one drum at a time and we can kind of build. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then she's like, how about a guitar or something? And I'm like, okay, sure. So got a guitar and then started learning both guitar. And then I got a drum kit soon after that. And so I was in the basement listening to Deep Purple. I really got into Deep Purple for some reason. It just like hit me hard. So I was like drumming to Zeppelin. playing guitar. I didn't know which, I thought I was going to be a drummer, but now I've moved mainly to guitar. I do a lot of drums still, but mainly guitar. But I think it was a few moments. For drums, it was Deep Purple, John Bonham, like Zeppelin, and those kind of things, and Sabbath. So I was into all that stuff. So I had my friends over and we jam and drum, and I just start getting brute force figuring out what to do. And it was more for fun, not necessarily thinking this will be my career. Like I wasn't thinking actively about careers, but I knew I wanted to keep doing this for the rest of my life. And then a few years later, I found Joe Satriani and Hendrix, and I lost my mind on guitar, and I got hardcore into that, and that was it. Once I started learning Joe Satriani stuff, I was like, and Hendrix, that was it. I'm in for the long haul, and that was a long time ago.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the band name. I haven't yet found the origins, but I do want to talk about the ampersand. The ampersand is very important in your name. You do not wish to have AND, but you prefer the symbol ampersand. And what I find, well, first of all, it has nothing to do with amps and it has nothing to do with sand. But that's the first part. But it was actually a character that used to be in the alphabet. I don't know if you know that it got removed. It used to be at the end. People used to say X, Y, Z, N per se end.
Interesting.
So it was a symbol, and they didn't want to say just a symbol, so they would say N per se, and per se means, I think, is the Latin for
Wow.
a symbol, and eventually got removed.
No idea.
Interesting. Maybe if it hadn't, we would have been able to have an easier time using it in like our hashtags and URLs and all
It's
that.
becoming a bit of a issue online trying to deal with it.
But
we do love it better than the and. 100%.
But to me, it's about having something removed. And if I think about this pandemic, there's a tendency for people to kind of erase themselves, to kind of isolate, to kind of remove themselves from the alphabet, so to speak. Why is it important for you to find your someone to collaborate with or someone to share some time with? Why is that important to you as individuals?
Well, there's multiple reasons we like the ampersand. I think stylistically, like, and maybe we'll like accentuate this in some of our future kind of art and stuff. But the ampersand is kind of like a representative of a heart. So that's kind of, it actually kind of the dagger with the blood, kind of that idea was carried over from a previous band name, which I'm not going to say now because I still want to use it one day. But
you do have a lot of projects between the both of you.
I already have too many projects. Yeah, we both do.
A lot.
But so I think the ampersand is kind of representative of a heart for one thing between us, and the dagger with the blood is kind of like just like the blood, sweat, and tears that really go into what we do and like who we are with each other and everything that I think that we've done as a band is just because of our relationship and our dynamic with each other has always been a real push and pull. So for us to work together can sometimes be like just like a bit of a tug of war. We can both be a little bit kind of alpha and so like
Queen and King.
Kind of.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of one of the meanings behind this band name, which is the third that we landed on, is because I think, well, there's multiple reasons for the band name. One of them is that I think we're both, because we are both a little bit alpha, we're both kind of like almost like our own kingdoms. We can be like at battle with each other. So that ampersand is kind of a little bit of a represents that aspect of the battle
like
between
strong,
us and the connector between us at the same time.
Yeah.
Like an alliance of kingdoms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
An alliance and also sometimes a struggle, but sometimes one makes the other stronger. It also stems from like an idea of how words make us, how language can change thought, like to this day, like
the pen is mightier than the sword, right?
Yeah. Well, like to this day, a lot of people want to call us kings and queens, and it happens all the time. Even people who know we're queens and kings will sometimes be like kings and queens. Oh, I mean queens and kings, and it's just like we're a little bit programmed how we speak, and how we speak reflects how we see the world, and vice versa. So, you know, it's just kind of a statement on, like, you know,
It,
thinking
it, it
about
it
how
also elevates the female power. I mean,
exactly,
uh,
exactly.
right
And it's
now
not
in
necessarily
England,
female male. It's just about, like, you know, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
noticing how language
Yeah, we're just
affects
throwing it.
that.
It's not like we're just all about flipping everything on its edge. Like it's just like a thing to say. Look, just think everything's equal. Everything's flippable, divisible, whatever. You know, the guy doesn't always have to come first. Like it's like it's always like, you know, queens and kings, and maybe one day we switch roles, and I'm the queen, she's the king, and then
Yeah.
we flip. Like, and we're both pretty much equal in our, you know, in what we do in the band. I mean, we both sing and we both play instruments, and
Yeah.
then she's going to be playing more guitar, and I'm been playing drums a bit. You know, I'm mainly guitar and she's mainly drums, but we are flipping it all up. And
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, Queens and Kings is we love the name when we came up with it. We didn't know there's going to be a lot of ampersand issues.
and,
And
the ampersand took on a new meaning, because at first, and you've talked about it publicly, so I don't mind talking about it here, but you were a couple before, and now you're bandmates. So even the meaning of the ampersand kind of changed. What quality is needed to transform a relationship into this, you know, a working band relationship without injecting like maybe anger and resentment in the mix? How do you successfully do this, because you're obviously still good friends?
well, we're in the midst of that process.
Yeah, it hasn't been I mean, it's not always easy us working together, but I think that the nature of our relationship has always been that, like, just like the name is kind of a dichotomy. I think there's a real kind of like I said before, push and pull, love and hate kind of thing. And sometimes, you know, we can just, everything can be wonderful and perfect, and sometimes there's just a lot of friction. So I think it's not necessarily that it's a new thing. We've shifted gears. I would say we've probably like broken up like to some extent many times, but this one was more like of a like, you know, very
oh, we
one.
were 4 times a year
At least
breaking up,
at least, or
so,
4 times a week.
But
Quarterly.
everybody
Quarterly
else
breakup.
yeah, everybody else
Yeah.
knew we weren't really broken up, but we thought we were.
Yeah.
And then within like 3 days, we were back together and stuff. But yeah, I mean, the amazing thing is that we didn't have this band for a long time while we were a couple. It didn't exist. She was doing her own music thing. I was doing my own.
Yeah.
She would come in to help back me singing on or doing stuff on my electronic project or on my singer-songwriter stuff. And then I would help her in her, you know, Alissa Klug vocal
When
looping
I did full
looping.
band things, yeah. Usually I'm a solo with Alissa Klug, but a few festival shows I would have.
Yeah, and one of my favorite memories that I will carry with me to the grave is that a day before she has this gig at the El Macambo, the legendary El Macambo, for her other band, which is a like 7 or 9 piece reggae band. She's like, the guitar player is not showing up. I'm like, you gotta learn reggae. I'm like, I don't play reggae. What do you mean? And so I went and did, and I was like, oh, it's okay. It's just 3 simple chords for the whole track, no problem. But then, like, reggae's, it's 1,000,000% about the feel and the subtleties, right? So that, you know, I can no problem form chords, like whatever, that's fine. But to get the subtle and how to mute it with the palm and to do it properly for that sound, and I pulled it off. I was nervous, but
yeah, that was a long time ago.
Yeah,
I don't really do that project too much anymore, but it was a really fun one. Yeah.
I think if we go down to the root of the two of you, I believe it's this fiery passion. And you know, it bled into the relationship, passion on both sides, which kind of has these highs and lows, and you transport that into the music, which is why your music is very effective in you know, showing passion. It's very quite how can I say, it's a very strong emotion that comes out through the music, and we could just feel it, that there's passion between you, deep down, each and every one of you, and it's just coming out in different ways, and it just kind of takes form into this music that is really, really, really cool. I really enjoy it.
It's really therapy. I mean, I can't speak for Alissa, but I think she feels kind of the same way on stage. When we play the stuff, it's literally like it's my therapy session. Like, I know people have said that before, but it's like hardcore therapy session for me. So I lose it all. I get to float any of the stress and anger and disappointment and whatever I have in my life from other things, like, or years and years and years of wanting to make it, or struggling and overcoming health issues, and then having more health issues, and then dealing with financial stress and relationship stress and all that. And that's the time where you get to just feel the power of the guitar and the amps and the drums and just let it out. And we know these songs so well that we can perform. All the bands out there understand this. Once you get your songs to a certain level, you can just channel that energy without any friction. There's nothing that gets in the way of like, oh, what's my vocal part? What's my chord? Like, you're not having any issues. You're just like channeling it out. And that's the therapy that's how come we really come across on stage, because we really feel it. We're not acting, we're not doing anything. We're literally, our emotions are like exploding out of us, you know?
Yeah, it's a definite release, and just of like, there's no like, I think we, when we started this project, it was kind of first and foremost like for us, you know, just because, yeah, it's a hard industry, the music industry. There's a lot of disappointment. There's a lot of effort all the time. A lot of hope goes into it, and you know, we just kind of decided, like, first and foremost, let's just, you know, do this for us and not worry about the rest. And I think that the audience really responds to the fact that we just kind of let go. Nothing is contrived, you know. We'll never kind of compromise our vision or what we want to do in this project for anything. We just do what we want to do. And
Yeah, and then you layer on top of that that our sound is very big and thick, and there's only two of us. So we're able to, with the way she smashes the kit and the way I have my pedals and the way I choose to do my amps, and the way I play, really, like, I play very hooky and riff based, and we lock in a lot, so it really comes out solid. Like, when you hear like Rage Against the Machine, that's some solid major sound.
And
Because
I think part of that is because you're a drummer, so you're playing in step with the beat and not in between, right?
you are literally the first person in my life that has recognized that. Like, I've had to tell people that, but and for me, it's almost a subconscious thing. Like, I'll be playing something on the guitar and I'll realize it's a paradiddle. It's literally a drum pattern: left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. And I played it on the guitar, and I didn't even, yeah, like, groove is the center of everything I do. Like, it has to flow, it has to groove, it has to be mathematically, like, divisible in a way, you know what I mean? And just, I don't know, feeling, emotion, and rhythm and groove and timing. Yeah, it really helped that I started on mainly doing drums a lot, and then moved to guitar after. I think it was one of the best things I could have ever done.
Yeah, well, I think we're both like very like, first and foremost at heart, very into the rhythm and very percussive based kind of people. Even in Alissa Vox Raw, like, you know, I'm building a bunch of loops. Sometimes it's all just stacks of vocal harmonies. Sometimes I'm building with synths or drum machines or kalimba. But the heart of all of it, even if I'm not using any actual percussive instruments at all, the heart of all of it is percussive. Like, they're all interlocking polyrhythms and things that fit together and stack together to create a music bed. So I think that both of us have that kind of real, like, love for the rhythm, you know, and
you're a salsa dancer, so there you go.
Yeah, that's
there's no end. Let's I want to touch a little bit up. You mentioned how your performing live is a little bit like therapy, except normally if you see a therapist, you're alone in an office, maybe sitting on a couch. You're in front of all these people, which is one of the reasons why I truly love speaking with musicians, because I find that you are so brave to kind of work through your problems in front of an audience and kind of let us in as you deal through the dark thoughts, and sometimes kind of just putting it into words sometimes is enough to kind of release it. But let's kind of talk about the new song. You have a new song coming out called Going Through Hell, which is taking on a new meaning. It started off from a relationship side, but now it can be really well applied to the past 365 days, last 12 months.
Yeah.
What did you do to cope in the last year? And how do you see it going forward in terms of getting out of this HE double
Um,
hockey stick?
for me, as soon as I heard about this, even before it really reached North America, I kind of was had a sense of dread of what could come down the pipes if the right measures weren't taken. And once it had reached here, I just kind of like was like, well, there's the next 2 years of my life. Like I just kind of knew immediately what was coming. So I think that I was, prepared in that sense. For me, like I'd say I'm a introverted person in a lot of ways, and I'm good with like spending a lot of time alone and being alone and doing things by on my own. And I feel like I've done things on my own for a lot of my life. I've gone around the world by myself basically multiple times. But so I feel like in my apartment, like especially when it's not nice out, that's the one time where I'm like, oh, I need to, be on a beach. I need to be outside. But generally speaking, like I can be in my apartment all the time and never get bored as long as I have, musical
Internet.
instruments, my imagination and technology. Like you can really just like, it's amazing, especially now what you can do without ever leaving your house. Like we were lucky that we finished recording our album before the pandemic hit, so we have all songs recorded and everything else we can do remotely. We comp it ourselves, and then we can work with our mix engineer, mastering engineer remotely, so we don't have to leave our houses. The one thing I think we really really miss is playing live. Like that of course has really been hard.
What will be your first song playing live? That first gig, your first song, you're finally on stage after whatever, a year or 2 years, however long it takes. What are you gonna do first?
We often start with a song called Walk Straight. It's just a real kind of like, it's really kind of kicks it in nicely.
It's intense. It's so busy that I almost like can't take my eyes off my hands because I'm doing so much stuff I have to sing and do it all. But it's got a real powerful, it's just like, if anybody's in the audience like, oh, well, I wonder what time it is or whatever, this is like a big slap to the face the second the chord hits.
Almost literally, I felt that.
I know, I felt the wind. So I'm just making you feel good.
Randall, you need to put in some Foley effects so you hear the sound when you do this.
Right on top of where I said whatever I was saying. But I think Walk Straight, a nice bang. We usually start off with a banger.
Bang.
Yeah, that one is a good one to start. I mean, who knows? Like, I think that we kind of sometimes just like to play things by ear a little bit too and be in the moment. So who knows?
Yeah, but we usually
by that time, who knows? Like maybe we'll have we have a whole bunch of new songs on the go too. So who knows? Maybe we'll bring a new one.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to start incorporating some.
We have at least another. Well, we probably have another few albums worth of material.
We have 2 or 3 like written,
and I think you have a lot on your phone that are just like unfinished, just riffs that are waiting to be given.
I literally have hundreds. Like I just go back and it's like month after month after month of just really killer riff, like the stupidest names I could have ever thought of, like QK killer riff number 75. It's like, but we have like endless amounts of stuff to do, and we're lucky during the pandemic that we had that all done so we could send it out for mixing and mastering, and we already had done a lot of capturing video footage. Alissa got on me this summer, is like, come on, let's go do. So we went and did
some extra, and then we already had some from before, like our last video that was out we had filmed before, like pretty close before, like February of 2019.
Before I let you go, because I know you guys have a tight schedule, there's something I like to play lately. You've probably heard of fantasy football or fantasy sports. I like to play fantasy rock band.
Oh yeah.
So let's create the ultimate rock band based on your choices. We need a singer, guitarist, bassist, and of course, the most important for you guys, the drummer.
Oh wow.
There are no wrong
answers. Probably be a real mishmash of styles.
So like an all-star,
dead or alive.
I think we probably have a few different choices. Like for me, like my kind of holy trinity or whatever of vocalists. Well, there's more than 3, but like, Karen O, PJ Harvey, Alison Mosshart, those are three of my favorite rock vocalists. Of course, like, you know, Susie Sue, Billie Holiday, Bessie Smith. I grew up listening to a lot of
But
jazz
if you have
and
one
blues.
band, you got to
If I
put
have
them in
one
their
band,
spot.
like, let's say we put like PJ Harvey on vocals. Can we put Max Roach on drums with her? Would that be insanity?
Of course you can.
That would be
Buddy
pretty
Rich,
cool.
put him on there. But yeah, who else?
Who do you want to pick as a bass player?
Well, for me, it's pretty. I mean, between us, like one band or one band each, kind of thing.
Oh,
Let's do one band each. I want to see your different influence.
Okay.
This is all an exercise to find out what your influences are.
You can't
Yeah.
put a Libra
But I
on the
won't tell you
spot.
till the end.
Well, I could go. I can.
I'd have to analyze this for a few
Okay,
days. And
how about
write down
analyze it
notes
for
and-
like 3 minutes, and I'll go, and you got 3 minutes, because I'm gonna have to go get my
Exactly.
grilled soon. But I mean, it's funny because the first thing that came to me, the first two people, I was like, that person for that, not for that. I'm like, they're in the same band already. So that was like Led Zeppelin really, like, I mean, when you're thinking like rock singers, like if I had to not have two people from the same band, I would probably get rid of Robert Plant and put Chris Cornell on
Chris Cornell.
vocals. Chris
John
Cornell on
Bonham.
vocals, John Bonham on
That
drums.
would be pretty insane.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Guitar, oh my God. I mean, it would be pretty cool. Like Hendrix would possibly be the guitar choice. I have a lot of guitar people I like, but Hendrix or Satriani would be, I think for this, Hendrix would be really cool. One, bass, oh my God, it's so hard. I could say Les Claypool, but that would be ridiculous. That guy's from Primus is just
We
nuts.
put Charles Mingus on bass. That would be insane too. You have PJ Harvey with a bunch of like jazz greats.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I'd say John Paul Jones as well for bass because he's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
there's a
there-
lot of modern people. It's oh my God, so it's hard.
It's hard to
I got
think of it on the
three.
spot,
I got
yeah.
three.
Yeah, you're so far your band is very 70s soundish, and it looks like Alyssa's
Yeah.
band's very like alternative meets old time jazz.
I don't
kind
know
of
why
mashup.
I'm thinking. Well, Max Roach, I just think is very like creative, kind of drummer. Oh, can we throw like? No, I don't know why I'm going to jazz. I guess when I really think of like
Just let it
some of the
go.
music
Do it.
chops, like I think of like people like Alice Coltrane, like a big fan of her. I don't know why I'm going to jazz when we're in a rock band and I'm such a fan of so much.
Well, you like everything. I mean, I like everything. I'll listen to
Yeah.
the Go-Go's back in the day, or like Peter Gabriel, or Skrillex, like whatever, like all over the place. Coldplay is one of my favorite bands. I'm all over the place, but I seem to gravitate towards more the rock and grunge and classic rock and that kind of mix.
And when you want to go on stage, obviously the two of you have chosen the rock and roll. It's a duo, but it's just, I don't know, you fill the space very well, and it's not like you're trying to fill every single second. There's space between the notes, but it's still, we can feel that passion behind it, the passion that's been through your lives from a very young age, and even through your parents, through the opera, through everything that would have soaked in. It gives us what we have today with Queens and Kings. So thank you so much for being on the show. We look forward to what's coming up. You have a video coming up, which we'll put a link in the show, and look forward to hearing more from you guys, and to especially have you tour. So tell us as soon as you get to Montreal, we will be there.
Oh yeah, we played there in the deathly middle of the winter snowstorm you guys had there that almost killed us last winter.
Like 10 times on a tour.
Yeah, so but we will be back. We love Montreal. She lived there for a while.
I went to the university there, yeah.
So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and thanks for having us, Randall. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.